When people talk about classic Sonic, they normally mention Sonic 1, 2, CD, 3 and Knuckles. And a lot of people call this the golden era of the franchise, and others think nostalgia carry these games. But I want to look at these games, well, these 4, well, technically 5, and see if they really do carry, or is it just pure nostalgia. So today, I want to look back at the classic era and answer one question: was this really Sonic's best era? A quick history lesson for the 3 people who don't know that Sega wanted a mascot to replace Alex Kidd, and honestly, he really wasn't carrying at all compared to Mario. And speaking of Mario, after playing it and speedrunning the levels, they thought, wouldn't this make a good game? But then they decided to add in Labyrinth Zone, and damn, this level really is boring and ugh. But after many designs and taking lots of drugs, they decided to come up with Eggman in pajamas and Phil's the rabbit, but they weren't really feeling the designs, and later he became Ristar. So eventually they landed on Sonic, and the rest is history. Sonic 1 is an iconic game that sold over 40 million copies and has been re-released so many times, but is it any good? It must be if it's been re-released so many times. So let's have a little look. We start in Green Hill Zone, or reusing every Sonic game zone. But for now I want to enjoy it, and before I get sick of it like a dog eating the same meal. It's a nice and colourful zone that lets us go as fast as the game will allow us, and it does establish the formula for, well, all of these games. And in other versions they add the spin dash and the drop dash, which does add a lot to it, but damn, this drop dash really needs to stop being added everywhere. Sonic 1 is interesting because it immediately shows us the strengths and weaknesses of the classic era. Green Hill Zone is one of the most iconic levels and openings in gaming, but then it was followed by something like Marble Zone, then way after Labyrinth. It almost feels like the series hasn't fully figured out what Sonic should be yet. With how the levels are laid out, the game does feel inconsistent, and it feels like it gives you the best level first. And then we do some boring crap, and then we get some good levels like Spring Yard Zone or Starlight Zone. I don't mind Marble Zone, it's fine, but I kinda wish they kept the UFOs like in the beta. It makes the stage way more trippy. And speaking of trippy, the special stages are weird as hell. And what drugs do they take while making it? You can destroy some of these blocks to get the Chaos Emerald, and it'll become more important as the game progresses. You also gotta avoid these gold things or you'll be sent out. And make sure you got 50 rings and jump in the big ring. And it'll be the same in CD and kinda in Sonic 2, but you have a checkpoint for that one, but that's for later. And also the plot for Sonic 1 and 2 are the same. It's just Eggman kidnapping animals and to make them into robots, and Sonic believes everyone is free and he doesn't want nature to be taken over by technology. I also own the first copy of Sonic 1 for the Mega Drive, and I want to say the European and Japanese art is better than the American art. The American always looks so weird to me, and those cartoons like Sat-AM or The Adventures of Sonic, yeah, I never really liked them. But even back then it does show that Sonic was a multimedia franchise, and it showed the potential of the series. So after Sonic 1, Sonic Team split up to make Sonic 2 and Sonic CD. And Origin CD is next, but I want to save it for last and cover Sonic 2 really quickly as it's pretty iconic, but does it live up to its reputation? A year later, Sonic 2 came out and it fixed a lot of issues and added way more content and levels. Sonic 1 has 6 levels while Sonic 2 has 11 technically. The only thing that was really removed was the Act 3 system. While we have Sky Fortune's effect, but it do feel like extra compared to the others, and we do have Metropolis Zone, which does have 3 acts, and it is known for being very unfair and not knowing what forgiveness means. While others are very iconic, like Emerald Hill, Green Hill 2.0, Chemical Plant, which loves to return like Green Hill, Aquatic Ruins, and I really love the OST there. Same with Casino Night, and introduced one gimmick, gambling. Some parts are famous for the wrong reasons, so like Mystic Cave Zone with that spike trap, but if you play the Christian Whitehead version, you'll get the Hidden Palace. A scrap zone like many others, like this Desert and Winter level, this Jungle level, and famously, Genocide City, which was scrapped because of the name, but you honestly could have just changed the name. Like, it was really called Cyber City Zone. I remember this guy posting mock-ups of them as a kid, and I was very impressed and hooked on them. Scrapped ideas always made me curious, because these zones have made the Sonic 2 more iconic. One of the devs said the game could have been 3 times longer, but time and console limitations. Sonic 2 also introduces one very iconic mechanic, turning Super Saiyan, well, Super Sonic. Dragon Ball has a lot of influence of the franchise, and we'll see way more soon. To get Super Sonic, you need to get 7 emeralds. I guess the last one returned from vacation. Special stages this time around are half pipe, and you gotta get as many rings as possible within the time limit while avoiding bombs. With Tails, he adds an extra 10 to collect, and he can make it a real pain, but he is worth keeping around for rings and levels and to damage bosses. And speaking of which, Tails is introduced, or miles per hour, like miles per hour. So, after that really bad pun, Tails looks up to Sonic, and after getting bullied for having 2 tails, Sonic saves him, and Tails sort of stalks him throughout the series like another pink hedgehog we'll meet soon. The final boss is way better and more iconic as we fight Silver Sonic on the Death Egg, and we fight the Death Egg robot. Some Star Wars references too, and yeah, it's very obvious what they try to reference here. We have no rings for this fight, and we have to do it raw if you'll pardon my language. And we do get a nice little cutscene of Tails saving Sonic and now off to Angel Island Zone. But next up is Sonic 3, but did Sonic 2 improve? I say Sonic 2 does build towards that Golden Age reputation and improves a lot on what Sonic 1 does. But it's not one of my favorites just for personal reasons, but the next one I'm really excited to talk about. At this point, Sonic 2 fixed most of Sonic 1's problems. The series was bigger, faster, and more popular than ever. But if people call the classic era the Golden Age, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is usually the game they're talking about. Sonic 3 is just iconic, and honestly, it's one of my favorites here down to everything, making me feel like Homeland is saying it. From the opening cutscene of Sonic and Tails flying to Sonic getting jumped by Knuckles and losing Super Sonic, that is an introduction, even for the time, as games didn't have voice acting, and that's one of Sonic 3's strongest points, is using visual storytelling. At the end of the level, we'll have these stage transitions and they're always fun to see and unexpected. Big points here. Like Sonic 2, it builds on everything: levels, gameplay, and adding elemental shields and new features. Shields were in Sonic 1 with ring boxes, 1-ups and such, but Sonic 3 refines everything from these games. The electric one attracts rings and gives Sonic a double jump. The fire shield gives Sonic a mid-air dash and lets us walk through fire and lava. Finally, the bubble shield gives Sonic a bounce bracelet and we can breathe underwater. Sonic has all the moves back and the insta shield, which gives Sonic infinity like Gojo or something. Tails and Knuckles also have their own moves. Tails can fly and Knuckles can glide and climb walls. Sonic 3 has 6 levels. Add in the Knuckles part and that gives us 14 levels altogether, and the majority of them are great, but you always need a bad level to balance it out. Angel Island is a nice tropical level, and halfway through it becomes bombed by Eggman, all scorched and stuff, and I like how we go through Destroyed Island afterwards. All these levels have interesting parts like this, and I do wish the game would have more. It would just make Angel Island stand out more. Carnival Night also has this lights out gimmick too, which is pretty fun. I do want to mention how good the OST is. Some are so iconic like Ice Cap and Launch Base. There's so many good ones. Hydro City, Angel Island. I could go on all day. Sky Sanctuary, but that's enough. And Michael Jackson reportedly did some of it, but went on credit due to allegations and not sounding happy with the Sega sound chip. We also have one thing that's unique to Sonic 3, Hypersonic. Turn up Super Sonic's qualities and then some. Hypersonic was included because Sonic 3 had been rushed out and because of a McDonald's deal, so they wanted to give players a little something. Sonic 3 is almost flawless. Sandopolis drags it down, and some of the special stages are, I don't really like them. They really do give me a headache after a while. But I do like finding them in stages, and they give lots out, so it's pretty fair. But trying to get Hypersonic is a bit of a pain as they make the special stages way harder. Though I do hope Hypersonic can return, even though he isn't canon. Same with Super Tails and, well, I suppose Super Knuckles is. Honestly with Tails, I really don't know, but that's for later. Same with Amy. So last up is Sonic CD, and it came out on the Sega CD, duh. And I say this last because it's the weirdest and the most unique game here. It's famous for its cutscenes done by Toei Animations, who did Dragon Ball, One Piece, and one of my personal favorites, World Trigger. The opening and ending cutscenes are just amazing. They bring Sonic to life with the world and other characters. I think Sonic Boom is great for the opening cutscene and Believe in Yourself for the end credits. All the American and Japanese tracks are awesome, but I prefer the Japanese version. The USA boss theme is off-putting and weird. There's also weird things in Sonic CD like the Sonic Batman or the Devil title card, but I ain't Infinite here or Enforcers, yuck. The gameplay is like Sonic 1 and the levels feel more open, which can be good and bad. Sonic CD has a time travel gimmick, and instead of hitting the post and going to future or past, you gotta build up enough speed to go there. But if you stop for a second, you lose it. Each stage has a good future or a bad future. With the present and past version, each have a song for it. But as a trade-off, we only have 7 zones. The zones are either hit or miss. Wacky Workbench and Metallic Madness get a lot of hate, while Palm Tree Panic and Stardust Speedway are praised. The levels can be hit or miss in this game, but it depends on which run for me. Each copy is personalized for each time. I guess that's what happens when the devil signs it. The bosses are weird here too. Some are easy and some are a little buggy at times. Maybe it's that damn American boss music, who knows. One thing I really hate about this game is the special stages, and they control horribly as Sonic moves awkwardly in this 3D space to try and get these time stones. They're kinda like chaos symbols, as we have to get 7 of them. When you touch the water you lose time, but what makes them annoying is this damn detection. It's really buggy. Or you can use the time travel mechanic and find these generators and break them, but you gotta break them to make a good future, and they're hidden in weird places. It'll make you get a guide and tear your hair out. Easily the worst part of the games in the classic era. So, are the classic games really Sonic's golden age? Honestly, not quite. They're fantastic games, don't get me wrong, and Sonic 3 is one of my favourite games ever, but I don't think every game here is a masterpiece. Sonic 1 is inconsistent, CD is all over the place, and Sonic 2 has some very frustrating moments. But what makes the classic era special isn't that every game is perfect, it's that each game built upon the last and helped create an identity that still people think of when they hear Sonic the Hedgehog. People like ports like the Mega Collection version, but I went with the Origins, with its flaws and all. They got stop rushing ports out. Origins does add Amy, and like the Mega Collection, the Game Gear, but that's for DLC. But the new cutscenes look very nice and remind me of the YouTube stuff they did to promote Mania. But that's all I gotta say for now, and if you made it to the end, what was your favorite Sonic game here? And remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys. Take care and bye bye.
Can you trust?
In the middle of the night.
Where will you be?
If you can't find you,
There's no place to go.
nothing to do.